third-party financing addendum. So let's go ahead and click that. All right, the street is 1234 Training Street. And then we're going to say it's in Arlington. Now, if we had done the 1 to 4 in the same transaction, this would automatically be filled out. Now, for the most part, people who do not have a lot of money to put down, you're going to find that they're going to go FHA, which the FHA only requires 3.5% down payment. So with this document, you've already done the contract. One of the addendums to the contract is the third-party financing addendum, which states that this contract is null and void unless your client gets approved, their financing gets approved. Now, for the sake of this, we're going to look at FHA financing. Like I said, most people who have limited funds will typically go FHA. That down payment is 3.5%. So for the sake of this training, we're going to say their sales price is $350,000. Can someone tell me what would go, what's the amount that they are financing if the sales price is $350,000 and FHA down payment requirement is 3.5%? Can anyone tell me?
Is it around 287?
Okay, so 350,000 times 3.5%.
Oh, it's 350. Okay.
No, it's okay. So 350,000, then you're gonna put, so when they say, well, what's my down payment if they're going FHA? FHA is 3.5%. So their down payment would be $12,250. Now, down payment is not all the money they need. They need down payment and closing costs. What I like to tell everyone is going to be about 6%. Your total cost is going to be about 6% down payment and closing costs. So they're going FHA, and in FHA, what you put in Section A is 203B, right? That's the name. So that's the name of the FHA, that's Section A, Section 203B, FHA insured loan of not less than, so
6%.
what did you say, Lisa?
It was Anitra.
Oh, Anitra, I'm sorry, because I can't see anybody.
Okay. I said 6%.
Right, okay, so right here, this is the financing amount. So, so what would be their, so the sales price is 350,000, right?
Mhm.
Down
Yes.
payment is their cash to close is 12,250. So so what are they financing?
Everything else.
Yes, the 1250. One moment.
Okay.
337?
Yes. So what you put 350,000
Mhm.
minus the down payment.
So they're financing 337,750.
Yes. Right, so it's 350,000, which is the sales price minus their down payment. This has nothing to do with lender closing costs, right? This is the amount that they are financing. So yes, you both are right. It's 337,750, right? So FHA insure financing, remember this 203B, any FHA loan, it don't matter, 203B goes here, whatever the sales price minus the 3.5%. I'm not sure if you remember, but FHA used to be 3%. It went up. So now it's 3.5% down payment. So if they were purchasing a $480,000 house, right? So let's just change the number. If it were 480, what number would we put here? So we got 480,000, right? Times 3.5%, because it's 3.5% no matter the sales price.
Right.
So now their down payment at 480 is go ahead.
3.
$6,800.
Yep.
$800.
Okay. So what would be the amount that they are financing?
That minus 400.
463,200.
So it was 480,000, Anisha, and then
Mm.
minus the 16,800. So give me that number again.
180. That was times 3.5. 16,800 minus 480,000. That is $12,000.
No, so you got to do
463.
yeah, because it's
463.
yes,
Okay.
it's 400 is the sales price for you. You got it right, but it's flipped. So it's 480,000, the sales price minus the down payment of 16,800, and then that is. So we got 480,000. We calculated what the 3.5% was. That's 16,800. And then now they are only financing 463,200. Okay. Now let's go to the next section. So then of not less than 30 years, guys, FHA is always going to be 30. Now, they could do a FHA 15-year, the lender will let you know. But unless they have specifically said that they're doing a 15-year, you always want to assume that it's 30 years. Okay, and then here's the interest rate. So you get this information from off of their pre-qualification. Okay, so we're going to say that we looked at this buyer's pre-qualification, and the lender has said that they could get a 6.5 interest rate per year for the first, and then you put 30 years again, because FHA is fixed. There is no adjustable rate mortgage when it comes to dealing with FHA financing. Is fixed, is a secured loan, is insured by the federal government. And then we move down to this last little box, 30 years of the loan with origination charges as shown on the buyer's loan estimate for the loan not to exceed, and this is always going to be the case because this is a federal loan, lenders cannot charge more than 2% origination. So that's what this is saying. The origination is not going to be 2%. It cannot be more than 2% of the loan. Now they can decrease it some, but they cannot go over 2%. Okay, so what do we want to know and be reminded of for FHA insure financing? In these templates, I'm working with our brand revamping, our website. So you guys will be able to go in and click and see samples of this. So when you're ready, you can go back and you'll have a visual to say, okay, I'm doing FHA. Oh yeah, this is what goes there. Okay, I know it's 30 because nobody has said different. You know the interest rate you'll get from off of your pre-qualification, and the sales price and down payment, you're going to calculate that based on whatever it is you offered in your contract. Are there any questions about this before we move on?
None.
That 2% origination,
Hold on.
that goes back to the fees that the lender's gonna charge you just for doing the loan, right?
Yes, and that's
Okay.
the buyer's, yes, that's the buyer's fee. Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
None for me. Very clear.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna move down. We're gonna move down. So for the sake of this, we have just done FHA. All right. So now we're gonna go down because none of these other things matter. Okay. Nothing else on here matters. You conventional, we don't have nothing to do with it. We're not doing VA. We're not doing VA financing. We're not doing a USDA. And we could talk about all of these other sections. USDA areas typically give 100% financing. We're not doing a reverse mortgage or any type of other financing. So for the sake of the buyer that we are representing, who we've got their pre-qualification, the pre-qualification is what tells us which box we're going to check. If you are working with a VA, then you would do VA guaranteed financing. All right. Now, number 2 is, this is so important. Approval of financing. Approval for the financing described above will be deemed to have been obtained when buyer approval and property approval are obtained. Time is of the essence for this paragraph, and strict compliance with the time for performance is required. So make sure you check the right box, because this right here says this contract is subject to buyer obtaining buyer approval. If the buyer cannot obtain buyer approval, buyer may give written notice to the seller within, I always put 21 to 24 days. That means you have 21 days to work with your lender to make sure that they are good with their loan. If for some reason something comes up, your client is already passed inspection, your client will not lose their earnest money as long as you terminate or cancel the contract and get a letter from the lender. Your client will not lose their earnest money. But let's say you haven't been in contact with your lender to follow up on what's going on, and you pass the 21 days, and for some reason they went and bought a refrigerator or they went and bought a new car. Now they no longer qualify. They've got $3,500 in escrow, their earnest money. Guess what? They've just lost that. They've just lost that. So this document is so important to you representing your client in the best way possible. And then a seller's agent may look at that and say, why you need 21 days? We're going to give you 14. Okay, and you might start off with 14, but if you need more time and you're getting close and you haven't gotten the approval yet, besides for conditions, then you want to submit an amendment saying you need another week or you need another 8 days or what have you, because the lender, I don't know, he's slow, whatever, but you would submit an amendment to get this time extended. Are there any questions about this paragraph? Okay. Now, if your client is buying cash, I mean, if they're buying their property cash, would you even submit a third-party addendum?
No.
No, you would not. No, you would not. Now, if this person has already gone through underwriting and the lender says we already have an approval, I just don't know of any time I would not put something in here. But there is a section that says this contract is not subject to buyer obtaining buyer approval. Now, you might use this for negotiation, but you just want to be doggone sure that, they've gone through underwriting and, it's no way your deal can't close, or they won't get, they won't get financing approval. Okay, so so we're going FHA, 203B, we know that it's 30 years. This information is going to come from your negotiation. The sales price, you guys know that going FHA, the down payment is 3.5%. So guess what? Now when you're speaking with someone and they say, well, yeah, I got approved, for FHA, what does that mean? That means you're going to have a loan that's going to have a fixed rate through the entirety of your loan, and your down payment is only going to be 3.5%. However, this does not include your closing costs. You will want to get that information from your lender. So boom, you just got talking points on working with FHA clients. 3.5% down payment. All right. So that was the second part. And then this document, this section 4 here, this right here is stating, and this is only with FHA and VA. It does not mean the same if you're doing a conventional loan. So here it says that the property has got to have the appraised value of not less than. So what do you think the property has to appraise at based on the numbers? So let me give you that information. So the numbers that we have, we're using $480,000 is what they
The sale price.
Right, 480,000 is the sales price. What?
16,800 down payment.
Okay, 16,800 is the down payment, and we know they're at 6.5% interest rate for 30 years. So just based on that information, what do you think should go here? What is the appraised value? Is it the 480 or is it the 460 that they're financing?
The 463.
Okay. Anyone else?
I was going to say the sales price.
Yes, it is the sales price.
Okay.
Now, Anitra, I understand, because for a long time I thought, well, but if they're putting it, if they want to pay over the amount and that's their cash, you remember when people were paying more for houses than they were worth,
Right.
So it's got to be the sales price. But for people that want to go FHA and let's say it doesn't make value, then we have an appraisal waiver that they can sign, right? And so ideally, what you want to put here is the sales price.
Okay.
Okay. So it needs to appraise for the 480. And then guess what? With FHA, if it doesn't appraise for that, guess what you get to change this to?
The appraised value.
Exactly. Now the seller doesn't have to accept it. They can kick it back out. But the FHA appraisals, no matter who come, even if they kicked it back out, they could not take another FHA deal because that FHA appraisal will be attached to the house, not the buyer. Okay. All right. And then you get your client to sign it. And let's say, so you're in your document. And now we want to initiate signing. Oh, here it is right here. Okay, and then you add participants. So you can add somebody from the transaction. You can add them new. You put in your buyer's name, first, last, their email, right? Then you do save. Then you go to tools. Well, no, you really, in this document, you just go to next. And then guess what? They get the electronic document. They sign it. A copy of the signed document is then in your email and is back in the intranet. Like you could go back in and you'll see all of your signed documents there. Okay.
Have you ever used Dot Loop?
Yes, so Dot Loop for us, we use Authentisign with ours. Yes, but I have used Dot Loop. It's very similar.
I think I like this better.
And
you don't have to create the boxes for the signatures and stuff.
No, and that's what I'm saying. So on the broker mint, you had to go through and map them out if they weren't mapped right. So here you just fill it out, and when you send it, it's already highlighted, and then you go. But let's say you needed to add something. Let's say you want to add your name. You can do that. You see that? And then if you want a text box and you want to add something into it before you send it, you can. If you want to highlight an area so that they understand and they see, you can highlight it. And then it goes right to them. They electronically sign it. They find this to be more easy. So with the way we're going to do our contracts is everyone will complete their transactions in the intranet, which is all of us, right? I'll have access to them. Once your packet is complete, then you can upload it to BrokerMint, where you will request your CDA, your commission disbursement authorization, and that means you're on your way to closing. But until all your amendments and everything like that, you would just here, let's go. I'm just gonna save it. Okay, so here we see test transaction, and here it would have been like one of 3 completed. If we had sent it out to get signed, it would have come back. So let me let you all see what one looks like that is signed. Okay, let's go to, all right. Let's do this. Okay. So these are all the documents. And let's look at the third party. Okay. So you see they went with conventional, and with conventional, the only thing is not a strict part of the loan, the 203B. All you're doing is putting down whatever they're financing, right, in 30 years. It's that simple. But you see, this part is still true. This is true no matter what kind of financing, because this helps you to know, like I said, if something goes wrong, you can get them out and they not lose any money. As you can see, it was conventional, so there's nothing here. And that's what it looks like signed. And you'll have a record of all of your documents. When they're signed, they come right back to you. So when you log back on to the intranet, all of your transactions will be in one place. And then once you get finished with your complete package, all you do is download it and then upload it to, to Broker Mint. And then from Broker Mint is where I will create your CDAs. Okay, so I am going to stop sharing now.